Hi guys, it's Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I want to bring you something a little different than what I normally do. As you can probably tell, we're in a different location here where I'm filming. So welcome to the edge of my kitchen. So the lighting in here is this really horribly ugly fluorescent light. It is not the best, but we are just gonna roll with it until I find a better spot. I love how you can see my messy refrigerator here. Listen, we do real life around this place. So what you see is what you get when it comes to these videos. But I wanted to kind of branch out and do something a little different. If you have stumbled upon my YouTube channel before, you know that I typically share with you all things Scentsy. Scentsy is something I have a huge passion for in my life. I am an independent Scentsy consultant, and so it's something that I love to share with people. I love the decor. I love all things fragrance. I love the company. So that is typically what I have brought to you on my YouTube channel so far. However, over the past month or so, I kind of have taken a little step back from YouTube. It was just one of those things where I needed a break. Life was just busy and heavy, and so I just needed to take a step back and kind of reevaluate things. It's something I like to do at this time of year anyway. So what I started really thinking is I want you guys to know a little bit more about me and what makes me me. So Scentsy, of course, is a huge part of my life, and so it's something I will continue for sure to do on this channel, to bring to you all of the things that I love about Scentsy and to share them with you. But I wanted to incorporate something else a little bit. This is actually something that I got away from a few years ago because I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a lifelong learner. I really pride myself in that. I love to learn new things all of the time. And so I have a degree in sports medicine. I was an athletic trainer before my kids were born, and once they were born, I realized as an athletic trainer, I really would not see them very often because I was on pretty opposite schedules from them. So I ended up as an adult going back to school and getting a second bachelor's degree in nursing. So I actually am a registered nurse as well. I personally don't work as a registered nurse right now, but it's something that I went to school for, and I worked in for few years, actually more than a few years, in multiple different locations before I sort of retired from that position to work Scentsy full time. So when I was doing all of these things, nursing school takes a lot out of you. If you are a nurse or if you've been to nursing school or know somebody from nursing school, can I get an amen? Because nursing school is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. So as a nursing student, you really don't sleep, you really don't eat, you really don't do anything except nursing, all things nursing, while you're in school for that. So prior to nursing school, one of my passions and one of the things I love to do was to garden. I love to kind of get my hands in the dirt and grow things, grow my own food. That's so fascinating to me. And it's not something I grew up with. It's something that I have learned over the years by reading books and forums on the website, on different websites, watching YouTube channels, all of these different things that I just sort of gathered knowledge myself, and I decided to give it a try. Some things worked out, some things did not. I learned a lot as I went. A lot of times it was an experiment, I'll be honest with you. But growing my own food was just something that was so completely satisfying to me. And it just made me feel good to raise my own food, know where it came from, know exactly how it was grown. Then to go out and harvest it, like that was just, I don't know how to describe that feeling, but to me, it was just, it was so satisfying to just bring something in from the garden and eat it right here in my own kitchen with my family. That was just something that just made me feel really great. And so then as we started to sort of bring in the harvest from the gardens, I realized that I tend to go overboard with things. So we way overplanted our garden. And so we ended up with a huge amount of harvest. So after I sort of literally dropped zucchinis and spaghetti squash on all of my neighbors all the way down my street, I kind of realized I had to do something else. And so that's when I started getting into canning and preserving our foods. We have a dehydrator, we have a canner, we like to freeze things, kind of multiple different ways of preserving our harvest. So I really had a passion for that. I was really loving it, but then with nursing school and then working in nursing, and schedules with nurses are not easy to navigate as well. So I kind of got away from it. I tilled under my garden because it was just too much to handle outside of all of my other responsibilities. And I miss it. Friends, I really miss it. Really, really miss it. So what I've decided is for 2022, I would like to kind of go back to my roots, pun definitely intended, and go back to gardening. And so I wanted to invite all of you to come along on this journey for me. Now, it has been a few years, I'll be honest, since we have a garden. We do have 4 blueberry bushes in my backyard that I do harvest every year, and I do take care of those. But beyond that, I have not done any gardening since, well, it's been 5 years, 6 years probably almost. And so I'm definitely rusty, you know, like I'm not really sure where to start. But that's why I wanted to invite you to come along. Like, we are literally starting from ground zero here, and I would like to invite you to, I'll share my planning process with all of you. I just ordered some seed catalogs, so hopefully they will be arriving shortly so I can start kind of planning the process. But for today, I wanted to kind of get into something that this was actually a gift for my son a few years ago. And he did it once, I think, and then kind of hasn't done it again. So we pulled out our handy dandy little Aerogarden. So this was a gift for him, like I said, for Christmas a couple years ago. It was sitting in his room, not doing anything. So we're going to pull this little guy out because we're going to try some other seed starting techniques that I have never tried before. Winter sowing is one of them. So I will share more about that when we get ready for that, probably in January into like early February, but I'll take you along for all of those things as well. But this is the first step. So we're going to try and raise, now this is just a very small Aerogarden. It's the smallest model they have. It just has 3 little spots to grow things in. This is a hydroponic system. So basically it's going to grow, it's no soil in here. There's going to be water, and there's like a little fertilizer that we add to this here in the bottom. And the lights are underneath where this white part is up here. These are all LED lights. So when this is plugged in and turned on, it will grow. Now this thing is kind of nice because this can raise up. So as your plants grow, you can kind of raise the light to the height that you need. But for now, we're just going to keep it down here. So this is what we are going to do. I'm going to take you through this little process of setting this up. I have no idea if it's going to work. To be honest with you, I have never tried using this before. This has always been my son that has tried this. I have never tried growing anything. I don't even know if it's going to work, but here are a few options that I have here for this. So being Scentsy, of course, this was actually something that Scentsy did about a year ago now. It was a little seed packet that came with a special collection. It was a wax collection called Life's a Garden, #dig it. So we loved this little thing, and it came with a seed packet, and I never have planted these seeds. So it comes with basil and parsley seeds. So I'm thinking I may want to grow something like this because I love basil, and we have a dehydrator here. So I thought that might be kind of fun for my daughter and I to grow the basil and then dehydrate it and see how we do with that. Another thing that I have, and friends, this kind of really dates like back when I did the garden the last time. So I love buying seeds from Johnny's Seeds. It's one of my favorite seed companies. And this was a lettuce mix. It was an all-star gourmet lettuce mix that we had. I don't know if you could pick up the date on here. So the date was April 2014. Yowza. So I have no idea if this is even going to be viable anymore. These seeds were actually in a little box down in my basement. So it stays cold during the winter, which would be good for them, but in the summertime, it's very humid and damp and just kind of gross in our basement. So I have no idea if anything is going to come out of these. We'll see. Maybe we'll give it a try and see what happens. So we're going to pick 3 things to grow. This was actually something I picked up at a local business just recently. How cute is this? It's a little tin, and it's called Growing Wishes Herb Garden. So I love this. It's actually made in the USA. It's made in Idaho. It's certified organic, and there are 6 different sort of things in here for wishes. So they have 6 different herbs. There's cheer, which is organic dill. Peace is oregano. Gratitude is sage. Health is thyme. Harmony is basil. Laughter is garlic chives. And then it also has little planters like the stakes in there and a pencil in there as well. So I was thinking about growing some of these. However, I think I'm going to stick with the Johnny Seed. Maybe we'll try and do a lettuce, and then we will also try and do basil and parsley, and we will see what happens. And then I'll take you along and we'll check back in on it and see where we go from there. So I ordered this little kit. To be honest with you, I'm not super excited about the way it came. It's literally like thrown in a box, which is not great. But this is from Aerogarden. It's a little kit. I actually just ordered it on Amazon. So it comes with the sort of replacement pieces for your garden that you're going to need to grow things in. So things that you're going to need. There's a little plastic cage, and in that plastic cage fits a growing sponge. So the sponge is made, I don't honestly know what all materials are in here. It feels like a thick peat moss or something like that in here. So what you're gonna do is there's a little hole in the top of this. This is where your seed is gonna go. And then this is just gonna slide right down into the cage. Super easy to use. And then another important thing that you're gonna wanna do, they have these stickers on here, right? So the stickers actually fit right over the top of this, just like that. It kind of seals it and it leaves just enough space for that plant to grow up through. The stickers are really, really important though, because what you're growing this in is just nutrients and water, and then you have light. So all of those three things make a perfect combination to grow algae, which we don't want. So what that will do is kind of block out as much of the light as possible, because it's getting the water, it's getting the nutrients. So if we can block out that third factor, the light getting to the water underneath, we're hopefully going to prevent any algae from growing on our plants. So that sticker is going to go on top. This is actually going to fit right into the top of the hole, and then this goes right down into the water, so it is nice and sort of saturated in there. The last thing that we're going to do is put just a little cap on the top of these as well, to kind of keep it all nice and sturdy and to kind of keep that heat and the moisture and everything in there. So until it grows, and then it'll pop that off. All right, so that's kind of our components. So what I have gone ahead and done is I have a little bowl of water here in front of me. Let's see if I can lift this up. So here's one of those sponges. I actually went ahead and saturated these a little bit, only because it was a little easier to do that. I think that the seeds get a little kickstart from this. It does take a little while for them to germinate, depending on what you're growing, of course. And who knows if my lettuce is even going to germinate at all. You never know. So I did go ahead and saturate these just so it kind of gives the seeds a little bit of a jump start. All right, so here's what we are going to do. So here is where it's sort of like the minimum line for what you need for filling up the water in this container. And then here's the maximum line. So we're gonna add water to this fill line here first. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this top one. So as I am building all of our seed packets, I can easily just go ahead and put those in. So I know it's a little bit off camera from you guys. I am learning at this. So we're gonna see how it goes. So I just have regular tap water. I may end up regretting this because I'm not sure if maybe I should be using distilled water. Our water here is pretty hard. We have city water. We do have a water softener, so I'm not sure if that's gonna be good for it, to be honest with you. So we're gonna try it out and see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and put my water in here right up to my fill line. And then you want to watch the model that you're using for this to see how much of the nutrient that you're going to use. So here's the liquid plant food that they use for these. My model is called the Sprouts, I believe, which needs 4 milliliters of the plant food in here. And when you set your Aerogarden, it will actually remind you when you need to do that. I believe it's every 2 weeks that you need to refill the plant food in here. So I am going to go ahead and put the 4 milliliters in here. I'm going to pop, there's a little seal on here. Tell you what, I'm going to close this up and shake it a little bit, just because it's been sitting in there for a little while. Now, 4 mLs is actually a cap full of this. Now, I didn't want to use the cap to pour it, just because when you pour it back in, then it kind of runs down the bottle and makes a mess. So what I have chosen to do is I had a little pipette type of a thing that I had for something else that I think I actually made it into Scentsy samples before. So I have this. I'm actually just going to use that to draw up what I need. So here's what the plant food looks like. There's 2 milliliters. So I'm just going to add that right to my water reservoir. And we'll get 2 more. Okay, right there we are. So we're gonna add that right to here. So we have our water and our plant food already in there. Okay, done. Now we get to plant the seeds. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna go ahead and put this cap right back on here. That way I have a place to put them. I'm actually gonna raise the light all the way up just so it's out of my way. You can see that coming around. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera some too. So here's my first cage. I am going to put, I'm totally winging this, can you tell? I'm gonna put our little piece in here, make a mess. That's why I'm doing this in my kitchen. It's totally fine. And then we are going to get a couple of seeds out of here. So this is my lettuce mix. This is the one from 2014. So we're gonna see how well this even works. Who knows? I do not have high hopes for it, to be honest with you. Now the seeds for this, I don't know if you can see. Oh, I'm gonna plant seeds all over my kitchen table. There they are, just little itty bitty seeds. Let's see if I can do this. There they are. Ta-da! See if I can get that on camera. So this is a little bit tricky, to be honest with you, on how to plant these. Now I'm only gonna put 2 seeds in here. Technically, you only really want 1 plant in each one of these because when you get 2 or more, it's gonna crowd them out a little bit and they're gonna kind of fight for position. So I don't really want that to happen. So what I'm gonna do, since I wet my finger, they stuck nicely. So we are just gonna drop 2 of these in the hole. Just like that. I should have held that up a little bit more to show you. And that's literally all there is to it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put this right in the spot over here. So it's sitting down in this. I'll try and share a final picture once these are all put together. Then I'm going to take one of the stickers here. We are going to write on the sticker what this is. So we're gonna say lettuce, question mark. We're gonna hope that lettuce actually grows. And then I'm going to take our sticker and we're gonna just put this right around the edge. You wanna get as close to the edge and try and get it right on the edge as much as possible, just because when you go to put the plastic piece, like the little cap on top, if the sticker is sticking out over the edges, it makes it a little more difficult to do that. So I'm just gonna simply put my cap on top of there and the lettuce is already done, out of the way. I'm actually going to go ahead and fill out my other stickers here while I have my pen out. We are going to do basil and we are going to try parsley. I just totally spelled parsley wrong, but it's okay. I'll know what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm gonna get my next cage out. This is going to be for, well, we'll say parsley here for this next one. So we're gonna put our little piece in here. I'm actually gonna put this in here and try and plant it that way. We're gonna experiment a little bit because, like I said, winging it. We'll see how this goes. Now, this will be a little bit tricky if you are new to gardening to see what the seeds are. So just because I have a little bit of experience here, by no means an expert, but a little bit of experience, I do know that the sort of dark black seeds are your basil seeds, just because I know what they look like. We grow basil a lot here at our house because we eat it a lot. We love bruschetta. I've never made my own pesto, but that's something I would like to try and do. So that's a goal of mine as well. So I'm gonna pour a couple of these seeds out. Let me see if I can get, okay, so here is 2 basil seeds. Right on my finger, they're teeny tiny, just little bitties. So those are 2 basil seeds. Oh, I wanted to do parsley in this one though. So we're gonna get rid of that and we are gonna pick up 2 parsley seeds. So parsley seeds are, oh, I lost one. I'll have to get another one. Parsley seeds look like this. They're little tiny, tiny brown seeds. Oh, that was easy enough. I just got one dropped right in there. And here's our second one that just went in my water dish, I believe. There we go. I'm just gonna pick up a little itty bitty seed. We're gonna drop that one in there. So that is our parsley. And then last but not least, I'm gonna take 1 extra cage, drop it in here, get my nice and saturated sponge in there as well. Drop that in. So this actually is really easy to put together from the Aerogarden. I'm super impressed by that. And I'm just gonna pick up my 2 little basil seeds. They are a little difficult because the soil is so dark. They're a little difficult to make sure that they kind of get right in the hole there, but it's not too bad. So that was it. And then I'm gonna take my stickers, my handy dandy stickers. We're gonna take our basil one off, put that on where our last one was. We're gonna stick our sticker on for the parsley. Okay, and then we are going to put our 2 little caps on here as well. 1 and 2, and that's it. We are done. That's all that it takes to plant this. Now I'm going to need to go plug this into an outlet source, and there is also a aerator that's in here that will kind of like bubble everything up and keep it moving underneath here. So we will make sure we get that in. I'm going to lower the light for now. I will take a picture of this just so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. This, actually the Aerogarden makes it really easy too, because it will cycle the light on and off. So depending on when you turn it on, that's when it is like it starts the countdown for when you're going to need new plant food, but it also will cycle the light on and off automatically for you. Now, if you plug it in at a time when you don't really necessarily want the light on, you can manually turn it off and then turn it back on when you do want it to start cycling, but that's up to you. Depending on where you place it, obviously if you have it like in your bedroom or something, you may not want the lights on all night while you're trying to sleep, just saying. So that might be something to consider for you as well. So anyway, that's it. We will kind of film our progress here and see where we go with this. I have no idea if it's going to work. I don't know if these seeds are going to germinate. And once they do, I'm not really sure how I'm going to take care of them from there. Maybe we'll transplant them. Maybe we'll keep them in here. Maybe we'll try some other things in here. I don't know. This is all going to be part of the adventure. So I want to take you guys along with it, and we'll see. I'm going to for sure make some mistakes. Please, any of my gardening things that I'm going to be posting on here, please know that they are not tutorials by any means. I am not an expert. I'm going to fail a lot. Let's just be honest. I'm probably going to fail a lot at some of these things, but that's all part of the fun, and that's all part of the learning process. And so I invite you to come along. If you have any advice, if you are an avid gardener or an experienced gardener, I would love to hear from you. So if you have experience with an Aerogarden or planting things outside, I'm starting to learn. I want to do raised beds. I want to do some vertical gardening. I've been looking into companion planting. So all of these things, they just make my heart and soul happy, especially as we now get into the coldest days of the year here. We live in a fairly cold climate. We're not completely up north. We're in Pennsylvania, but we have zone 6B for gardening. If you are a gardener, you'll recognize that term. But so we'll see. I would love to do some overwintering at some point, not this year, but we'll get into that at another date. All right, my friends. So I hope this video was fun for you. I hope you will continue to come along with us on our journey. And always remember, until next time, my friends, keep smiling and be kind to one another. I'll talk to you soon. Okay, friends, so now we are all set up on my kitchen counter for the time being. I'm not sure if this is where we will keep it, but just to kind of show you when it's set up, here's all of my pieces. There's my lettuce, my parsley with an extra L in there when I spelled it wrong. There's basil. And this here water reservoir is where you can add extra water to it, so you don't have to take the whole thing apart. Once I added all of these to the base, then the water is underneath here in the plant food, and you can see there's one little spot where you can see in the front, there's a little aerator that's in here that gives nice little bubbles. When it's time to add more plant food, so in about 2 weeks since I turned it on just now, it will tell me to go ahead and add more plant food, so that light will come on and I can do that. I can also adjust the light here from the front, so that way I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the light on the same cycle that it is now, but we can adjust that as we need to later on. And there's all the LED lights in the top of the plant. I do have this pushed the whole way down to the bottom just because the plants haven't started growing. Once they sprout, hopefully if they sprout, then I'll be able to lift that up and keep the light source a little bit further away from the plants as needed. All right, so that's what it looks like. Keep our fingers crossed and we'll see what happens.